it does feel like maybe you have a little bit of disdain towards your own skin complexion because you're so like, you just put your white wife and the fact that she's white, not just that she's a good person, but the fact that she's white on a pedestal.
Yo, if that's my partner, yes, I'm gonna put my wife on a pedestal. What black woman doesn't want that?
My fiance does not put my black wife on it's not because she's black on a pedestal. It's because my fiance is a good person. Come on, Rodney. All right, Rodney, let's get into this heated debate between Ryan Clark and Robert Griffin III. Now, in case you missed it, RG3 posted about a dust-up between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. During this post, Griffin made the claim that Reese just doesn't like Clark. That he's
Correction, he said she hates Caitlin Clark.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which is a little bit different.
She hates Caitlin Clark. Thank you. Well, Ryan Clark clapped back at Griffin saying that he's unable to have any empathy for Reese because his wife is white. Now, since then, Griffin has responded saying that Clark shouldn't speak on people's wives and children. Rodney, where do you stand on all of this?
Let me start with Ryan Clark, who I admire, who I think is a phenomenal media talent. I'm a really, really big fan of Ryan Clark, his perspective. But in this instance, I feel like he was completely out of bounds. And anytime you mention somebody, I don't give a damn if my wife is in the back twerking. Don't you, as a man with his own wife and his own family, don't mention my wife in the background twerking. I don't care that RG3's wife was in the background sipping tea and kikiing, and the optics were terrible. But let's focus on RG3 and not bring up his wife. We all know as men, wife and children are out of bounds. With that said,
well, okay, hold on. Let me jump in right there. I think that he mentioned that because of the emphasis that RG3 puts on his white wife.
But he didn't do that. But in the past, this has nothing to do with that, though. This has nothing to do with that.
Okay, but I think that if you look at the post where he calls himself the milkman and he's always talking about a tall glass of milk, and he just seems to be so focused and just, it's a hyper focus on the fact that his wife is white. I think that that's maybe the point that Clark was trying to say, not necessarily bashing his wife, but saying you can't even have empathy for a black woman because you're so focused on your white wife. Let's keep going.
Yeah, because his wife is white. But I just because if I proclaim, if I'm the milkman, right, and my wife happens to be white, then fine. That don't got nothing to do with my perspective and my feelings on Angel Clark and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. That has no bearings on that. So for you to bring up how I view my wife or even white women as a whole is irrelevant to this current conversation and topic. I feel like Ryan Clark is better than that. Okay. Sometimes in our community, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm not saying I'm an outlier. We take extreme offense to something, and our reaction, our response is to do that very same thing that we were offended by to the person who offended us. And maybe it's eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You kill my dog, I kill your cat. Maybe, but I think in this instance, most of the people who are siding with Ryan Clark are using his having a white wife, RG3 having a white wife as a fair target on RG3's back, and I don't think it's warranted in this instance.
I don't think, and I'm not on any side. I feel like both of them.
You got a perspective.
No, I'm saying I think they both have valid points. I really could care less about what they're saying, but I do feel like Ryan Clark's point made sense because this is not the first time that RG3 has had disparaging comments about Angel Reese, and it always seems
this is not what was the disparaging comment? Just so I'm clear.
Why are you talking about her? I felt like you were more focused on her character and not necessarily.
What did he say about her character?
You just corrected me. How are you going to tell me who I hate? And then your wife is in the back like, yes, she was rah, rah, rah. And that's fine. Like you said, that's fine. I don't care about that. But I do think that if you're going to therapize him, then that makes sense because it does feel like maybe you have a little bit of disdain towards your own skin complexion because you're so like, you just put your white wife and the fact that she's white, not just that she's a good person, but the fact that she's white on a pedestal. Rodney, you see that. It makes sense when I was
if that's my partner, yes, I'm going to put my wife on a pedestal. What black woman doesn't want that?
But are you going to put the fact that she's white? My fiance does not put, oh my God, I forgot my ring. My fiance does not put my black wife on it's not because she's black on a pedestal. It's because my fiance is a good person. Come on, Rodney.
Samaria.
You've dated black women.
Samaria.
Are you sitting here? Okay.
I haven't. I've exclusively dated black women. So
okay.
We emphasize the special nature of black women all the time. We acknowledge the uniqueness of black women all the time.
But have you done it the way that RG3 has done it? No, you haven't. That's
Samaria. The reason that people have the reaction to RG3 doing it is because the woman is white. If his wife was black and he always acknowledged my chocolate queen, my beautiful black queen, we wouldn't say anything about that.
Okay, you're missing the point of what Ryan is saying. He's saying that you obviously have a disdain towards your skin complexion. That is what he's trying to say. If you listen to what Ryan Clark is saying, he's literally emphasizing the point that why do you have all of this disparaging things to say about Angel Reese? You have no empathy towards Angel. You're sitting here on your platform talking about how Angel hates Caitlin Clark. Now that is
that is so disparaging. God forbid we acknowledge that two competitors don't like each other. This is not the first. What a jab at a character.
When is the last time we've had a debate about that? When is the last time we had a debate about two athletes hating each other?
We just did it with Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert.
Rodney, I think you keep missing what I'm trying to say.
All right, so I'm gonna use my therapy practices, right? I'm gonna repeat back to you what you said, just so you know that I understand what you're saying, right? Okay. So you're saying that Ryan Clark is stating that RG3 is incapable of being empathetic towards Angel Reese's experiences because he is married to white women, and so he does not have regular conversations with black people.
Not that he's married to white women, that he's so hyper focused on her whiteness. Rodney, you can be married to a white woman and that's fine. You can marry who you want to. But it seems like when he posts on social media, it's more about her whiteness. I'm next to a tall glass of milk. I'm the milkman. Ryan Clark literally specifically talked about how he used to talk about white women in the locker room. That's what we're talking about. That's how you therapize a person. And that's where I feel like Ryan Clark is right on that. And if RG3 feels like don't talk about my wife, then that's fine. Like, I don't feel like anybody had I don't disagree with what anybody's take was. What I'm saying is I do feel like Ryan was right on that there is this seems to be hyper focused on his wife's whiteness. And
you know what? We love the preference. We love the preference shame when we are not the preference. This is like, I don't give a damn what RG3 enjoys in his romantic life. Like, I don't, if he likes milk, if he likes white women, if that's what he fetishizes, cool. It's people that fetishize ass. It's people that fetishize bigger women, smaller women, short men. Like this is the spectrum of what people like. I cannot fixate on what RG3 likes, where he likes to stick his, or who he wants to put a ring on. That is of no consequence to me. The conversation revolves around Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Exactly. And when you're commentating on this, then you need to keep it sports. And you're not doing that because you're sitting here talking about her character. That's where I think we're losing.
No, what he said is that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. And sure, that might have been a little bit hyperbolic, and maybe he didn't use the correct word, and maybe hate is too strong of a word, even though we call people haters all the time. This is language that we regularly use. But for whatever reason, in this instance, we want to make it seem like it's the most offensive term that somebody can put on somebody else. Cool, I get it. Because for whatever reason. But at the core of what RG3 was saying, anybody with two eyeballs who watches sports can clearly see that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese do not like each other. They do not vibe. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
The way that you just said that, Rodney, you said they don't like each other. Do you see that? He focused it on Angel. That's why I feel like it's just, if he had come and said that, I don't feel like they like each other, honestly. Like, it seems like when they have dust-ups, it just blows up into something bigger than when they have dust-ups with other people. And that would have been good.
So he wasn't word perfect. Are you always word perfect? Are you always word perfect? Regardless, anybody who saw that interaction, right, clearly saw first Angel Reese shove the hell out of Caitlin Clark's teammate, right? We saw that on the offensive rebound. Are we aligned there?
Mm-hmm.
Angel Reese shoved the hell out of her. Caitlin Clark, being a phenomenal teammate and competitor, shoved the hell out of Angel Reese. That is basketball, right? What was Angel Reese's reaction to being shoved?
She went off a little bit. She was upset.
Cool. She went off a little bit. She was upset, right? Mm-hmm. So Last year, when Angel Reese fouled the hell out of Caitlin Clark, what was Caitlin Clark's reaction?
It was not that. She walked away.
Okay, and everybody who talks about Caitlin talks about how fiery of a competitor that she is. She made a decision not to react in that way for whatever reason. And I don't think Caitlin Clark is some angel and Angel Reese is some devil. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But in that moment, if just like we always say, the quote, from a distance, people do not know who's who. So from a distance, Angel Reese's reaction can lead somebody to believe that, oh, this person clearly hates this other person because look how she's reacting to a simple foul on a play. Like that is, if from a bird's eye view, that could be somebody's perspective. Again, we speak in hyperbolic terms in media. That's what we do. We sensationalize things. That's what we do. So RG3's tweet is a symptom of what media does present day. You and I both do it at times. That's just a part of the business. But to spiral it into all of this, oh, he doesn't like blackness, and we don't know what his relationship is like with his mother or his cousins or his aunties. So to be like, you don't have empathy for black women because you're not married to one, because of how you fetishize romantic aspirations with white women, you can't, that you're basically doing what RG3 did. You're projecting onto RG3 some misunderstanding potentially of how he views things because of the optics of his romantic life. And so if you're saying that RG3 can't possibly empathize with black women, then are you able to empathize with what RG3's experience like? Have we ever dug back into RG3's childhood and see how he was wired and raised and what are the things that impacted him to make him the person that he is today? Empathy isn't a one-way street. If we're going to be empathetic, let's be empathetic to everybody's experiences and how they ended up the person that they are today. But the idea that inherently Ryan Clark is correct, I don't rock with it. And I love Ryan Clark. I think he's incredible. He's incredible. Mm-hmm. You want to protect and defend black women? Cool. But his response doesn't put a Band-Aid on the racial divide that exists between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. If anything, it's more gasoline on the fire.
I agree with the goal here is blowing up this division that we've already seen. I do agree with that.
So what's the goal? Is the goal for us to have better conversation? Is the goal for us to have more understanding? Is the goal for us to come?
I think that we as the media, we don't need to. And I feel like, honestly, when we're sitting here talking about dog whistles, that is exactly what I felt like RG3 was doing. He was sending out this dog whistle. Listen to me. He was sending out this dog whistle. He got called out on it. So I feel like if we want to be better, we as the media, him in an interracial marriage, he knows better. And we cannot be sitting here pitting these women against each other like that. There was a better way he could have said it. He did not word it correctly. And somebody called him out on it. Did Ryan Clark, you think that he went too far? That's your opinion. Some other people do. It is what it is. That's what I think the thing is.
Again, I think you're right in that. I hear what you're saying. If we want to give him a pow because he misspoke, I'm fine with that. But I think sometimes in our community, and I'm just speaking as honest as I possibly can in this moment, sometimes in our community, because of the experience of our women, of black women in this current season, I think sometimes we're losing a little bit of perspective on how even our defense of them can be offensive. And maybe the idea right now is it doesn't matter if y'all offended because of how we protect. Then if that's what it is, if that's how people want to ride and show up, I understand it, but I just don't think it's healthy. I think it's somewhat of an overcorrection, and we have lost the ability again to have nuance in these discussions. I think what's the young lady from ESPN that is married to the white man, Dave McMenamin?
Malika
Andrews,
Malika
right?
Andrews? Okay.
Yeah, Malika Andrews' critiques of black men on ESPN
and it was
on
the
draft
same
nights.
Thing. It was the same thing. And nobody batted an eye when black men was going in on her.
Listen, no, that's not true. But what I'm saying is,
who stood up for Malika? Nobody. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Black women, because you guys really ride for each other. Stop. Yes, y'all do.
I don't think so. I think that I feel like a lot of black women in the media were actually going up for the athletes.
Not all. Some. Not all.
Okay.
Some. There is no whatever. Regardless, at the end of the day, people misspeak. Stephen A. Smith does it. Skip Bayless has done it. Everybody has done it, except for Max Kellerman for whatever reason. Max Kellerman has a perfect record. But in general, I think to sum all of this up, there is a way to have corrected RG3 without mentioning his wife. And I feel like anytime you mention wife and children, regardless of what the context is around it, unless he has a beautiful family, he has a beautiful wife and kids, anything beyond that is out of bounds. And so please, in your attempt to correct me and to therapize me and all, do not mention my wife. That's it. Regardless of if she's white, black, skinny, fat, short, tall, it don't matter. We do not mention children and wives. That's out of bounds, point blank, period. RG3 is a clown. Please do not think that I am in support of RG3. I think he is a cornball to the utmost. To the utmost. But I feel like I can have an objective perspective on this, and right is right, wrong is wrong. While maybe he used language that was a little bit too harsh considering the times that we're in, at the same time, Ryan Clark could have completely not use RG3's wife as a means to undermine RG3's perspective. And with that said, I'm sorry. I'm from Jersey, y'all. I talk passionately. Honestly, I don't care as much as I probably came off. But that was just the Jersey in me. And I love arguing and debating my sister Samaria, even when we are at odds. So I appreciate the conversation. I am sorry if I came off aggressive. But again, Jersey, and my birthday is next week, so we lit. You all let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Are you more so on the side of RG3 or Ryan Clark? Who's more out of bounds? We appreciate your commentary.